Federal government approves $2.9 billion for Badagry Seaport, gives explanation for 1.15 billion naira vehicles purchased for Niger Republic. Naira gains in a few days as market speculators lose in black market. Plus, OPEC increases Nigeria's oil quota to 1.830 million barrels per day in September 2022. This is Business Express on the network service of the NTA, and we are reaching you from Abuja, the nation's capital. I am Benny Adams, your guide. It's good to have you here at this time. Let's talk business. I'll start by telling you that the Federal Executive Council has approved $2.59 billion for the development of Badagry Deep Sea Port in Lagos State. The Minister of Transportation, Muazu Jaji Sambo, announced this while briefing newsmen after the weekly meeting of the council.
This is to further the government's goal of making Nigeria the maritime hub of the West and Central Africa sub-region. This project, it may interest you to know, will also generate a total revenue of over $53.6 billion over the concession period. It will create about 250,000 jobs and also attract foreign direct investments to the country and help in improving Nigeria's economy in general and the well-being of Nigerians.
The Naira continued its recovery on the parallel market Wednesday as it sold for 660 Naira per dollar. The currency had depreciated to about 7.15 Naira to a dollar on the parallel market last week. On the official market site, the Naira appreciated by 0.03% to close at 428.88 Naira to a dollar on Tuesday. Last week, operatives of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission raided Wuse Zone 4, Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, over allegations that some bureau de change operators are mopping up foreign currencies. Let's see the Naira's official exchange rate. While we await figures from the equities market for this Thursday, it was a negative close on Nigerian stock market on Wednesday as the bulls failed to sustain the previous day's positive sentiment. The NGX All Share Index depreciated by 0.06% to 50,594.97 points, with market capitalization also dropping to 27.283 trillion naira. 121.16 million shares were traded on the floor of the exchange in 4,369 deals, valued at 4.16 billion naira. NTA Nigeria, FBN Holdings, and Zenith Bank led the activity chart in terms of volume. In spite of the war in Ukraine, lockdowns in China, supply chain disruptions, and the high inflation in Nigeria and around the world, the equities market in Nigeria recorded a gain of 21.17% year to date, making it one of the best performing stock markets in the whole world in the second quarter of 2022. Figures from the Nigerian Exchange Limited show that 485.4 billion naira worth of equities was traded in the second quarter of the year, representing an increase of 40.11% when compared to 346.43 billion naira traded in the first quarter. To speak on the performance of the market is Aruna Kebira, Managing Director and CEO, Global View Capital Limited, who joins us all the way from Lagos. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Kabira.
Thank you very much for having me on this program.
Good. To start with, we see the Nigerian Exchange Limited traded 831.83 billion naira worth of equities so far in the year, with a high value in the second quarter of the year. What's your making on the market? Why is it this resilient? That amount is so huge. What factors are responsible for this feat?
For quarter two results normally come with interim dividend, and there was this expectation of interim dividend, and a number of people, especially those that are dividend savvy, were taking position in those stocks that declare interim dividend, and the market actually didn't disappoint. We saw Kumu declare an interim dividend of 7 naira, Sepla 2.5 cents. MTN declaring dividend of 5 naira, custodian 10 naira, and Guinness went ahead and declared a final dividend of 7 naira, and they received good earnings. I have not seen, except for Honeywell, that actually returned a loss. Every other corporate earnings we have seen on the floor of the NGS and the super.
Okay, Mr. Kabira, we seem to be having not a clear connection with you. Let's take this break. We'll get back to establish contact with you when the network gets better. Well, the services sector is one that has picked up faster in the race to recovery of businesses from COVID-19. And Eze Nwokedi is one man who is making ends meet in his trade of iron smithing. It is our Surviving COVID-19 series.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Eze Nwokedi is a stakeholder in the transport subsector of Nigeria's economy. A sector that contributes significantly to the nation's GDP is no doubt critical to growth and development of any society. More critical is the service Nwokedi offers.
Aluminum goes to aluminum. You know, when alloy bends, it used to vibrate when it's in the car. So when it come here, we need to straight it, tested okay, it will be okay.
Smithing is a skill Nwokedi acquired at Apapa in Lagos. It took him 3 years, 6 months to hone his skills, and upon graduation, he relocated to the seat of power, Abuja, where he earns a living at Apple Mechanic Village.
In a day, at times we do like 10, 15 rims a day. Depends.
Then came COVID-19.
COVID-19, we suffered. That COVID-19, nobody even used to come out to repair his rims.
He says he's building capacity to expand his business.
But the machine now, the last time I asked about it, the machine is about 10-point-something million for the machine. We use it to, I mean, even if the rim is pieces, we use it to remote another one, as in bring the condemned one, melt it together and remote it exactly.
With 4 people presently in his employment, having graduated 6, he hopes to empower more youth in this line of business.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
We now look at the global stock market this Thursday as a bit of nervous tension over Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan dissipated and as investors took cues from robust U.S. data and earnings.
Asia shares traded higher this Thursday following the rally on Wall Street and as investors move from the tensions over U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's controversial visit to Taiwan. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index jumped more than 2% earlier in the session and was up 1.65%. Nikkei 225 rose 0.69% to 27,932.20, and the Shanghai Composite 0.46%. European stocks were mixed on Thursday, with caution returning after gains made in the previous session. U.S. stock futures were about flat Thursday morning after the major averages snapped a 2-day slide, helped by robust earnings and stronger economic report for June and July that led investors to look past the possibility of a recession. Futures tied to the Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 416.33%. S&P 500 futures and Nasdaq 100 futures also opened green. For African markets, new figures are expected to roll in as the day progresses.
Well, now we've established or re-established contact with Kadiri, and if you can hear me, from where I was taking off, positive sentiment trading by investors has also been seen. Are investors in this country insulated from the global happenings?
No, not exactly, but you should understand that the NGX stock market is information driven. We have already seen, one of the things that I want us to understand is that when an information comes to the marketplace, the market will try and reflect it fully in the prices. And at the moment that is reflected, it will discountenance that information. We saw what happened in June and July. When there was a rate normalization in the US, inflation was going up, exchange rate was getting out of hand, insecurity, and whatever. So in NPR. So as at the time that the market actually absorbed that, we will not be talking about NPI ROI when that has actually been reflected. Like I've said before, there's always an expectation in the month of July and August, because that is when we begin to see quarter two results coming into the marketplace.
Okay, that being said, in terms of sector performance, what sectors are taking the lead in the market as of today?
I think it has to do with the telecommunications, because I can actually see that MTN is actually there, it's leading all the way, even when it went down during the month of July, it came back. But if you want to talk about, maybe from January, I will give it to the oil and gas sector, as you know, especially from Seplat. And because of the strategic sector that they are in, and we know they are, because they are actually not in downstream and the upstream. Price of crude oil, was favorable to them. I think they perform better.
What's happening to the financial services sector?
Sorry?
What is happening to the financial services sector?
Well, especially when the news, bad news hits the market, I think it first of all takes the maximum toll on the banks. And what we saw that during July, price tickling down, the month of July affected the bank so much, to the extent that we saw the need coming down, establishing a 52-week low, a new 52-week low in the year, to a price of 18.90 kobo. The same thing with GTCO and Access Bank. So I think it was the news that came around the market around July that brought them to their 52-week low.
Okay, recently, Nigerian Stock Exchange says it will combine crypto and blockchain technology in the 2023 or in 2020, that is next year, to enhance trade and attract new investors to the market. How do you see that playing out?
You see, one of the things I've always liked, and the magnanimity of the management, the correct management of the NGX, is their drive and their resolve to deepen the market. I think that is exactly what they want to do. And I also believe that they have actually sat down to look at the pros and the cons of both derivative and Bitcoin. So if it is good for the market, fine. But I'm not. What I want to tell you now, that Bitcoin, derivative, and equities are on the parallel level, because we not come and drive equities away from the market. So I think it's a very good development. I think it's toward deepening the market. Because one, if you are not doing well in equity, or you don't have what it takes to be in the equity, you look at the direction of that derivative.
Okay. That being said, let's talk about. Trading on the floor of the exchange this week. The bears have dominated the week so far. How do you explain that in relation to the accolades being poured out on the market, that it is performing the way it is performing?
You see, one of the things that we should understand, there is about 5 of them on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange.
Okay, Mr. Kadri, that is the much we can take at this moment. Thank you so very much for sharing your thoughts with us at this particular point in time. We'll get to talk more about the market in subsequent days. Moving on, the oil prices rose on Thursday as supply concerns triggered a rebound from multi-month lows plumbed in the previous session after U.S. data signaled weak fuel demand. Brent crude futures rose 42 cents at $97.20 a barrel this Thursday, while West Texas Intermediate crude futures was last up 49 cents at $91.15. Both benchmarks fell to their weakest levels since February. In the previous session, after U.S. data showed crude and gasoline stockpiles unexpectedly surged last week, and as OPEC Plus agreed to raise its oil output target by 100,000 barrels per day, equal to about 0.1%. of global oil demand. It has also increased Nigeria's oil quota to 1.830 million barrels per day in September 2022 from 1.826 million barrels per day in August 2022. With that, we now move to the global commodities market to see prices of other commodities. Like most countries across the globe, Nigeria is faced with economic challenges ranging from inflation to depreciation of the naira. Government is intervening, but financial analysts say fine-tuning the interventions to drive crucial economic indicators is key to changing the tide. Michael Olaleye reports.
On the economic index of inflation across the globe, Nigeria is down the ladder with inflation rates presently put at 17.71% on a year-on-year basis in May. It is an encouraging statistic, but why the country's huge potential is constrained is due to factors ranging from limited capacity to exports.
The government can also intervene by reviewing some of the import tariff on some of the critical items around energy, around food processing, around equipment.
In the face of this, Nigeria is re-strategizing to meet up with its production quota of 1.8 million barrels per day, while ironically projecting to climb up to 6 trillion naira for subsidy payable on fuel this year.
We should be able to allow for improved production. Should we have improved production of crude today, we are going to achieve a couple of things. One, we're going to have a stabilization of our foreign exchange reserve. We're going to have a moderation in the depreciation of the local currency.
From anchor borrower, N-Power, and series of interventions to stimulate micro and small medium-scale enterprises, government has responded positively, but experts say weak physical space in terms of limited resources has slowed down growth.
There must be policy alignment for us to be able to see, positive growth.
As a matter of urgency, experts say initiatives that can boost the strength of the naira can change the narrative.
We have an inflow of $29-30 billion diaspora remittances annually. What we are counting officially is about, $6 billion now? So why can't we harness that?
Another area of tremendous growth is in infrastructure, with the success story in the rail subsector a reference point. But experts say more efforts spearheaded by public-private partnership will add value to increasing capacity to exports. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye.
Thank you, Michael. And with that, we end this episode of the program. Don't forget, you can access all previous episodes on YouTube. Join us again on Friday at 3 p.m. for another episode.